Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, and welcome to today's sales user webinar. It's a general WeSuite webinar on the finance and lease sales, featuring a sneak peek of our DealerAlly integration. My name is Brandon Vieira, and joining me today is Stephen Nasty, who will be instructing us through. After this webinar, you'll be able to estimate your own company finance and lease plans within an estimate, display one or more finance or lease offers on a proposal, award a winning finance or lease plan, and as I mentioned, have a sneak peek at our DealerAlly integration. As always, we want you to get the most out of your time today. So if you have questions at any time throughout the webinar, don't be shy. Just type them right into the chat, even if it's because we've gone too fast or you want to see or hear something again. We have lots to go through, so let's jump right into it.
Awesome. Thank you, Brandon. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sales user webinar. So as Brandon had mentioned, we're going to be talking today about the finance lease module, as well as a DealerAlly integration sneak peek. Just to kind of address this really quickly before we go in too much detail, in the initial kind of output of the webinar, we had a couple bullet points talking about the DealerAlly integration. When we were planning the webinars ahead of time, we thought we would have more of like a kind of a concrete thing to show. But for kind of just our that's still going on in development, we have a kind of a demo piece that they had sent us. So it's just really more of a recording. So I'm just going to show that recording. It's about maybe 4 minutes long, kind of walking through the process and how it looks, how it operates. So you're still going to see kind of the gist of it. It's just unfortunately not something I can do in real time just yet. Also, the piece I'm going to show is going to be in Code Anywhere 2. It's being imported over to Code Anywhere 3 right now. So everything that I will show you in that video is going to be converted over to Code Anywhere 3.0, as well as some additional features as well. So that's my general disclaimer before I get kind of too much into it. I just want to kind of put that out there so nobody's kind of misled or anything along those lines with what we talked about. Okay, beautiful. So as Brendan had mentioned, the bulk of today is going to be on the finance / lease module. So for that, we're going to be really spending a lot of our time within a job, and we're also going to be spending our time within system configuration. So really what I wanted to do first and foremost is kind of go through how to set up the actual lease module itself. This is something that, I know this is a sales user webinar, but this is something that more times than not, an admin will have access to. But this is something that I feel like is also something good for you to understand where to go, how to kind of navigate it, things along those lines. So to set up a lease plan, a finance lease plan, what you just have to go to is to Tools, System Configuration, and they're going to be looking for the Regions and Offices tab. In Regions and Offices, you have all of your regions that you have within your system. Now, again, like I typically always say here, you have, this is a demo environment. So you're going to most likely, we have a ton of these regions that we've done for testing purposes, for demo purposes, things along those lines. So you may have more, you may have less. So we're just going to go ahead and take any one of these regions here. So we have New York, which is pretty much our most popular region that we have. We'll go ahead and click on Edit. So just as a quick side note, whenever you're working within regions and offices, clicking on Edit opens up new tabs. So it's kind of a condensed view, and then when you click on Edit, it expands. So this one is an edit within an edit. So you go ahead and click on where it says here, Advanced Edit at the bottom. Now, if you have the lease module turned on, you'll have all these tabs that populate. So you'll have your RCM, your outright discounts, annual RMR, and labor difficulty factor. So these are all pieces that you'll input in. So if it would be from your perspective as a sales user, or from a manager standpoint, or if you have this information for you, basically what you can do is you can take all that information and you can plug it in. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to say, what is the deposit amount for the job, for the lease plan for the job? the month to pay back, the term that you're signing, any sort of lease factor, any sort of lease residual or GP minimum. These two are, generally speaking, optional fields. But you'll be able to basically take your numbers and plug them in. So you can plug in your deposit, month's payback, your term, your lease factor. And what that'll do is that'll basically add, you basically add a configuration that'll add down here to this line. So right now we have two lines within this region that say for 0% down, so we have no deposit, for RCM of 18 with the lease factor of 1.2 and a default term of 3 years. We have another option that we present with 50% down and a factor of 0 and a term of 36 months. So basically what this is telling you is that we have two separate plans that we can build and we can input. Then all you need to do is you would just have to, if you have the lease plans that you offer your clients, you would just have to enter it in these fields up top. Once you have everything there, you can add this configuration and it'll plug right in. Now, the important thing to note is that this is broken out by region. So if you have multiple regions, then you would have to go through here, like let me just pick another one at random that might not have it. You know, we would just want to make sure that we have these set up. Close the editor. Let's go back here, edit. Yes, edit. So we see here within customer care group, we only have the singular lease option with an RCM of 20. So if you're a company and you're an organization that has multiple regions, multiple offices, you would just have to make sure that you set up the lease factor for all of your regions and offices. Now, another trick you could do is you can also quote to a specific region, which I'll show you in a little bit. For the back end side of things, that's all you would need to have. You just need to have the deposit, months to pay back, term, lease factor, and then your lease residual and GP minimum as required. So go ahead and close that. And we'll go over to an actual job so you can see what it looks like. So I created a job before. So let's go ahead and just open up this so you can see it, and I'll kind of walk through the process one more time so you can see it again. Within this job here, I just went ahead and added a couple Sedona parts from accounting, and just some kind of miscellaneous items like a charge item or a MAR item, things along those lines. Once you have the lease configuration enabled, you'll have at the very top, you'll have the lease tab shown. And in this place, I had added a new plan. So I have a 3-year lease, a 5-year lease, and 50% down. What this will do is when you click on this include button, this will factor in the lease to the actual proposal document itself. And when you click on the estimate portion, what that'll do is that'll give you the calculation at the very top. So what's good about this is you can have multiple lease plans within your job, and you can factor in a main lease if you want to. So a lot of the times what people will do for this is they'll say, I have 3 different lease options, 3-year, 5-year, 50% down, just to use this as an example. Our main lease agreement is our 3-year. So I want to include that in my estimate to show that you're for $230 a month and, install amount of, $1,000, you'll have, this as your plan. So basically how I'll kind of move forward with this is we have on our document screen, we have on our kind of custom proposal document that we show here, we have a checkbox that says show lease options. So now this is something that you might not have if you're not using the module, or maybe this is something that you want to take advantage of. So basically what we do is our documents team will build a checkbox that basically says, if you have a lease plan on the estimate, so if you're including them, you're able to show them broken out on your proposal document. So we go ahead and generate this quote so you can see it. And I am showing you this on the new doc editor. Okay. So pretty standard stuff. This is our kind of internal WeSuite proposal document. Just our general pages, some pictures. And what we're basically going to do is we're going to scroll down here. So We have kind of standard, what you're used to seeing is we'll have on our investment page, we will have our kind of our project summary, where we have our estimate kind of broken out by our cameras, parts, items, our professional services, and our side of things lumped together, charge items, RMR items, things along those lines. And then what we have down here is we have our finance options. So how we have this broken out in our document is just like you were seeing before. We have all the math that we do is internal, so it's not going to be customer facing. The only thing that the customer will see was you have these three plans. You have a 3-year lease, a 5-year lease, and a 50% down lease. This is what's due up front, and this is what's due monthly. And then what you can do is you can have it tied to some verbiage down here where you can say, if you select these payment terms, then X will be decided, or X, kind of X verbiage, whatever you want to do. And on the actual document, the customer can just initial it to accept it on whichever proposal proposal lease plan they want. And again, this isn't the only way you can see it. This is how a lot of our customers that use Lease have it kind of broken out in a very similar way. But for internal purposes, this is how we have our lease agreement broken out. So you have a very clean, very simple, and the customer just have to go ahead and sign off whichever one they want to move forward with. Okay. Any questions on anything on the lease side of things that I've shown so far? Okay. So today is going to be a webinar on the shorter side of things, just as a general heads up. Really with the lease module, from a demo standpoint, from a webinar standpoint, a lot of kind of the nitty-gritty stuff is just too client specific for me to show kind of, if you have this configuration, then set it up this way. But that's a general gist of where to go, where to set it up, how it would look. If you need to remove any of these lease agreements, like let's say you have these 3 as a default, you just go ahead and click on this remove button here. You just unselect it, and what that'll do is that'll remove the line from the actual agreement itself, from the job itself. And you can always customize these too. So if you ever want to change a certain value, a certain cost, or certain install amount, you can modify these columns by typing into them too. A lot of the times clients will say just leave them alone and have kind of the math do its thing, but you have the ability to do that. You could also click on this RCM button as well to add another lease option. So let's say you have 2 or 3 that are defaults and are standards. You can also add another option and then just modify it and call it your own. Like let's say it's a 10-year lease. I don't know how common that is, but you can do it that way as well. And you can basically factor in it this way. So you can say maybe it's a 75% install. And you'll let the system do its job, or it'll kind of calculate the math. Okay. Awesome, guys. So in terms of leasing, that's really the lease module. It's very simple. It's very clean, and it has, excuse me, it has the flexibility to kind of do whatever you want it to do. Now, what I wanted to show lastly here is I have a kind of a sneak preview of the DealerAlly integration that's being worked on by development. So kind of before I show you this, just a disclaimer, as always, it is a lot of what you're going to see is internal builds. So, might not look the exact same way, although the functionality will still be the same. But, in terms of interface, in terms of, how it looks, all that stuff is always subject to change. This is also being shown on Codeanywhere 2. The latest version is Codeanywhere 3. So there is that kind of distinction to be also made where the interface is going to look different at a baseline. And also, for those of you who aren't familiar with DealerAlly and what the integration does, which you'll see in the video, which I think is really cool, how this is broken out is the finance lease module allows you to input the plans like we just saw. That'll basically allow you to say, I want, these rates, these lease plans, these, monthlies, all that stuff to be calculated out. Whereas DealerAlly allows you to basically get your loan directly approved as a customer through the integration. So you're able to basically apply immediately through the integration, you're able to see, input your customers, income, all that good stuff will be rolled into it, and you'll be able to get an on-the-fly loan if needed. So I don't necessarily know if this audio is going to come through on the recording, but it does have subtitles. So I'll try to see if if we need be or people need me to kind of repeat anything, let me know. But we go ahead and start it. It's just a 4-minute video. It's going to be relatively quick. Okay, so that is really a sneak peek of what DealerAlly integration is going to be. I'm going to take the same recording. I'm going to put it into the chat here. So if anybody wants to, take this recording, watch it on your own time, or rewatch it, or show it to your team or anyone along those lines, that's a Dropbox link that should be available to everybody on the call. If you try clicking on it and it says maybe you don't have access or anything along those lines, just let me know, shoot me an email, or give me a call, whatever. I'll be more than happy to send you a different link, maybe with the permissions. But that's really the DealerAlly integration. It's really cool. It's really sleek, and it's a nice little thing that you can do with Code Anywhere. Now, just something to note, as I mentioned before, that video recording was showing Code Anywhere 2.0. So a lot of the interface that's on there has changed. Code Anywhere 2 is being rolled and kind of merged with Code Anywhere 3.0, and we're just calling it Code Anywhere. There's no need to distinguish 1, 2, 3. It's just going to be Code Anywhere moving forward. So the new version of Code Anywhere, if you're using Code Anywhere 2 and you're interested in Code Anywhere 3, also let me know. What we're doing is we're reaching out to all of our clients that have been using the kind of middle version of Code Anywhere and updating them and upgrading them to Code Anywhere 3.0. Completely free. There's no charge or anything along those lines. You just have to get access to your server and just push the necessary files to load that in. So that's the Code Anywhere, and that's the DealerAlly integration. It's perfect for if you're on the fly, on the go. You'll be able to get some live credit reporting and be able to get some loan applications as well. So that's really it that I had on my end, guys. Was there any questions on the integration, on the loan process, on anything that I went over today? Okay, awesome. So a nice, quick, and easy webinar before Thanksgiving. Brandon will wrap us up, but just really on behalf of me and everybody here at WeSuite, want to wish everybody a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Enjoy, have a good time, enjoy seeing the family, and enjoy all the food. So Brandon, you want to wrap us up, let everybody know what's coming up on the docket here?
Yeah, of course. Well, once again, thank you everyone for joining us today, and hopefully you're comfortable with what we reviewed. It was relatively quick, but again, hopefully you're comfortable with it. If you need to refer to this webinar again, it will be posted on our website. It should be pretty quickly, but if not, same time tomorrow under the training webinars page under the education menu. So next month's webinar for sales users is on December 19th, and it'll be a look into setting 2024 prospecting and sales goals, while the system admin webinar will be on December 12th and will be an automated approval module overview. Have a great day, everyone, and once again, we hope you enjoy your holiday.
Take care, everybody.